down the hammer and pick up the pencil. You're about to listen to the Savvy Radio Show. Learn from real-life real estate investors, experience revealed with the Savvy Landlord as your host.
Okay, savvy investors out there, my name is Stephen Van Cowenberg, and I have a wonderful guest that I've been begging to get onto the show. First, let me just say her name is Heather Schleeper, and this is a unique situation. I spoke a couple of years ago, roughly almost 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, at a bridal breakfast about technology and the things that you should do to run your business, a bunch of slides I threw up there. And I used to own the bridal show, got out of the bridal show. And the main reason why I got out of the bridal show, because real estate is amazing. It's more flexible and it wasn't a full-time job. Well, this gal, Heather, rolls up to me, and she is an entrepreneur through and through, in and out, all around. She does not play. She has several businesses, photography business, and she's just savvy as a lady. And she's like, well, do you offer coaching? And I was like, whoa, oh, okay. And so we started connecting, and I started helping you. And I told you one thing, not to be a realtor. She
Yes.
became a realtor. So 2.5 years later, she is effing killing it with 52 units, all balls in. I only coached you for a couple of months, maybe it was like 3 months.
It was like 3 months.
3 months.
I think we paid you the last month to do nothing.
Oh, hey.
Just
Brothers got to eat, anyway, which was my first unique situation to actually take money from someone to help them. So that was kind of a cool, and you held my hand through that, and you knew a lot more about other things that I didn't know, but I knew real estate. So tell me how did this happen? We're at a bridal meeting talking about how to increase your bridal business, and you wanted to get into real estate. Did you know then?
Well, no, I was meeting a realtor that day to look at buying a commercial space because I did photography for a studio. And I was scared about, what to look for and this and that. And so you had touched on a few apps that you used for rentals. And so I knew you had some kind of experience. So when I asked you, you handed me one of your books on CD. And I immediately got in the car. I put it in. I listened to the whole thing on the way home. And then I called my husband while I was getting gas. And I said, hey, I think we should get into rentals. And
For real? Just that simple?
I'm serious. He had been in the oil field and owned a business and sold it, and he had a no-compete clause. So he was trying to figure out what he was going to do, and we weren't really sure what I was going to do, and we were spending way too much time together. So, I made him listen to it, and then he's like, I asked him if he'll coach us. And I think we met you like less than a week later at Charleston's.
Man, you guys are super savvy. I mean, people just don't do that. And from that due diligence of working or getting into it, you have 52 units. Have you been nervous through this process? Walk me through, what were you thinking? I remember the first house that I went with you on. It was in Moore. And you were like, okay, we want it. I'm like, okay.
I
sure?
still catch flack on that house because
Good.
I picked it. Michael had never stepped foot in it. And we probably honestly spent a little more on it than we should have. But we took it on with a tenant living there. He ended up living there over 2 years. He just moved out 2 months ago. Luckily, I'm a realtor now. He used me to buy his next house, so I made money off of him that way. And then we immediately had another tenant in within 1 day. So
it's cash flowing?
It's cash flowing, about $300 a month. So
what was the desire to ramp it up? How are you so consumed with this? I know it's just on my one book, but there's something else that's feeding you. What was just the success of it, the thrill of it, the hunt to find deals, obviously to make money. I mean, you're an entrepreneur, so you're about making money, which is nothing wrong with that. But I just what keeps you rolling?
Well, I think for me and Michael, it's something we can do together. We work well at it. And he's more the numbers person. He's into investments and, he does all the stock trading and this and that. And so for him, it was an investment. So I knew I could sell him on it in that aspect, which obviously worked.
Was he real easy to sell on it? What was it like when you explained it to him?
Well, in the beginning, he's like, well, we'll see. And so, I made him listen to the DVD or the CD. And so I think that's what kind of got him, like, oh, this isn't too bad. We could do this. And again, with him not being able to go back into the oil field, we knew he needed something that he could do. And at first it just started out, we were going to buy a few houses. It was more of a, in 15 years, we'll have some rental income if we want to retire. It was going to be kind of a low-key thing. And I remember meeting with you the first couple of times and you say, you need goals. Like, what's your goal? And so then Michael started getting these crazy goals. I want 100 houses. I don't want 10 a year. And, and that was in 2013. And I remember we bought 10 houses in our first 6 months.
Wow.
And it wasn't that we were necessarily just looking to go buy that many. It was like once we met with you and we knew what we were kind of looking for, deals just started kind of falling in our hands, and I'm a believer, God is the one who provides. So it's like we were putting our trust in it and trusting your lead, and everything just fell into place.
So, it's just so bizarre how successful you are. What's your secret sauce?
I don't know that I have a secret sauce. I have to get talked into a lot between Michael and I. Like, he'll want big complexes. Like, one of our purchases was a 37-unit townhouse complex, and I was scared to death. It was more than I wanted to take on. It was obviously more money than I wanted to spend. And I finally just had to trust and take a leap of faith. And it's turned out to be wonderful. But, now he's talking about doing another one of those, and now I find myself stressing out about it again. But, in the end, as long as you are working your business and you're making sure you buy the right deal, the numbers work, then you just have to trust it's going to work out in the end.
All right, let's get some history here. So how long you've been an entrepreneur? You own a photography business, or you did? Because that's how we kind of knew each other, was through the bridal shows and so on and so forth. How'd you get into being a business owner?
Well, if you want to start back in the very beginning of whenever I first started working for myself, right out of college, or actually while going to college to finish my bachelor's, I worked at the Oklahoma State Region's Fire Education. And while there, I decided I didn't really like the income and getting paid once a month for the state. So I started doing in-home sales on some, we'll say, lady items like
Passion party.
Oh, something like that.
It's direct marketing.
And my very first party, I sold $1,000 worth that was my in-pocket part. And so I thought, wow, I can do this. So then I started doing that several times a week. And, but when I became a mom, that wasn't really as kosher.
Sure.
So then I still knew I was good at selling things. And so then I got into photography, and family photography doesn't pay as much. There's too many people in the market. So then I thought, well, I'm going to set myself out. I'm going to do boudoir. So I take on something that most people don't want to. And it's one of those things. I kind of take it and...
Well, men want to.
Well, yeah. I got those calls.
Oh, God.
I lost a bet with my wife. Can I do boudoir? No.
Oh, no. I don't even want to... My visual aid just help me out. So you went to boudoir. Okay. And then how did that go? Was that easy to market that? Did you find some resistance, especially in the Bible Belt in Oklahoma?
It wasn't too bad.
Sex doesn't really...
If I can sell passion parties, I can sell boudoir. But I kept it very tasteful and classy. So
you're very classy.
So from there, I went into weddings, and then hence I met you through that. I love photography, but most photographers have the creative brain, like where they're always on that creative edge, and they're more the artsy type. That's not me at all. I literally was only in it because I knew I was good at it.
And you can make money.
And I can make money. And so I own very nice cameras, but I'm telling you, if I'm not getting a paycheck, I'm not taking pictures. I don't even take pictures of my own kids.
Sure.
So,
it's just a job.
It's a job to me.
With flexibility. So then did you have to... So when you were at that turning point at that meeting that we were at, did you ever knew that you were going to get out? Because you were all... So you get all in. Like you're all in. Like you're all in as a mom. You're all in as a wife.
That was my first year
doing
doing
weddings. So you were growing your business, and then you just took a detour.
Took a detour.
And then now, like we were just talking off air, you were like, I don't know if I'm going to do that anymore. Have you put the photography down?
I have dissolved my business through the state, because when I do everything, I make sure it's all legal. So everything has been dissolved.
Savvy.
Send in my sales tax permit, no longer doing it. People inquire, I forward them on to someone else. I can make more money doing this on finding a deal or selling a house to someone. So I'd rather put my efforts towards that.
All right. Now, so we're up to that point. Now, I know we've had a conversation about being a realtor, because I remember you asking me specifically.
You said, don't do it.
More than once. I mean, I'm not a big fan of realtors. No offense. I mean, I like realtors, the good ones. There's a lot of realtors out there that do some slimy things. And I've been thrown under the bus, and I've seen some realtors that don't even work. They just take listings and sit there. And I've been jammed up in a contract with a realtor. Not that I have some really great friends that are realtors, but I mean, like, I think you can still be an investor without being a realtor, because when you take that oath as a realtor, there's this ethics that you have to take. So
your liability goes up.
And errors and omissions. And I have a new book coming out about being sued as a landlord, and I cover errors and omissions on a couple of cases that I was involved in where they got sued, and errors and omissions kicked in. But then I've also seen errors and omissions throw somebody under the bus. But that's another day. But what in the world? First of all, I know you heard it from me, because I remember vividly, I'm like, no, don't do that. You don't need to be a realtor. What spurred you to be a realtor? You went all in like gangster style. Like, we were like, I'm not coaching you anymore. See you later. You're up to like 20 units. Next thing you know, you're a realtor.
Well,
so
again,
how'd you get there?
When I'm going to do things, I'm going to do it all the way. So
I love it.
We finished working with you. I think it was right towards the end of 2013, beginning of 2014, basically. And at the end of that, no, it would have been the end of 2013. So in December, I thought, okay, I'm going to just, I want to get to doing something different. So end of November, 1st of December, right around there, I logged online one night and decided I'm going to just pay for this realtor class and just do it online. So I finished the class in 3 weeks, and then I scheduled to take my real estate exam. I took it and I actually had my real estate license by January 8th. That was the day I got it. January 8th, 2014.
And you never set a foot in a classroom?
Never. So January 8th, which if you think about today is what, February 16th? So that was just a little over 2 years ago. So
and you're dominating.
First year being a realtor, I sold $5.2 million. And then this last year, I just finished at $10 million with Rookie of the Year, highest contract price, and Platinum Club.
Wow. I'm speechless. I have not met too many ambitious people in my lifetime. I love ambitious people.
Yes. And in the process, still finding our own deals. I manage all of our properties. We do not have a property manager.
So this husband is just kicking at Mr. Michael, is just laying back with the children?
No, Mr. Michael, he has learned how to do light electrical, plumbing, cool. Flooring, painting. We have a full-time employee now that we hire that helps him. So he does everything but heat and air, basically.
Cool. So he's enjoying, he was in the oil field, so he was kind of a manly man out there, knows how to fix stuff. And
well, he really didn't know how to fix anything until he did this. He's learned a lot.
Yeah, and you've learned, I know you've suffered on the cross with a few contractors.
Yeah, I've learned the hard way on a few people, but luckily now we only use contractor if we absolutely have to. Sure.
So then how is being a realtor now has helped you as an investor? And investors can work with you, right? I mean, at the end of this
yes.
The show, I mean, I definitely encourage you, if you're going to work with a realtor, definitely work with a realtor that understands what you're doing. Obviously, she owns property. This is an opportunity for you to learn from her. I mean, you have access to the MLS. You have access to data that we don't have as investors. So has that helped you so far being a realtor as an investor as well?
Yeah, because I work more with sellers than buyers, to be honest. And so the good thing is when someone calls me, like I got a call 2 weeks ago, and she says, I want to list my house. And I said, okay. And she goes, well, I called those We Buy Ugly house people. So I already knew the house was in disarray. And I said, okay, great. I'll come over. I'll show you on comps what we can list your house for, and you can sell it on the market. Or I'll look at it and tell you what I would pay you cash today for it.
So you're upfront with it.
So I'm upfront with it. And so I tell them it's separate from, Dillard Group where I work. It's my own company. It's, licensed, blah, blah, blah. And so I go over and basically show them the numbers. Here's what you could list it for. Or if I feel comfortable, I usually tell Michael kind of up front, and I snap pictures while I'm walking through the house and send them to him immediately. So he's looking, and then he'll usually shoot a number out because he's our numbers person. And so I just tell them the number. If they're comfortable with it and they want to close within 2 weeks, then I go ahead and just write up a for sale by owner contract right there. And if not, then we list it. And, if it sits on the market for 6 months and we're not getting the bites, then they always know my offer is right there. Now, my offer may go down, and they understand that too. So sometimes I have to wait to get a better deal. But
you are beyond gangster.
It all adds up, and it's all to help someone else. And, and I'm making a lot of good friends in this business too.
So. No, you're helping people, I think, ultimately. I mean, if you're upfront with it, I think it's cool. That's the disclosure. Hey, I am an investor. I am a realtor. So what's your type of house that you're looking for? What do you buy? Where do you buy? How do you buy? How often? Go on from there.
So our criteria on houses are they have to be at least 3-bedroom, prefer 2-bath. They have to have a garage, no converted garages, and we prefer only brick homes.
So why not the garage situation? What's the deal with that?
I don't know. That's a Michael deal. He's strict on it. He hates converted garages because half the time they haven't been permitted. And if we ever want to sell the house later, then we also know, disclosure-wise, that could hurt us. Again, my liability goes up being a realtor because even on every tenant's lease, I have to put my real estate commission number on there.
Sure.
So if anyone gets unhappy and they complain, it could cost me, a business is making me $200,000 to $300,000 a year. So I'm not going to jeopardize that.
Sure. And that could be a mark against your license at the realtor office. All right. So when you put these offers in, how about funding? I mean, I know that in the beginning you used a bank that I used at the time.
I still do.
You still use that bank?
Still use John Day.
Okay. First Security Bank. And then have you ventured off to any other banks, or do you need to use that?
We have one. Essentially, it's just a line of credit against our personal property, and then we can convert it to a mortgage. We did that. We tried doing one flip house, and that's what we used. And needless to say, it didn't sell, and it's a rent to own now, which is fine. But we decided holding and renting is more our business. We don't like the flipping.
Great.
Yes.
Student.
Yes. Well, and again, liability,
big
real
money,
estate,
big money.
Flipper, it really isn't
taxes
as beneficial to me.
Yeah, and you got to start the whole engine all over again. So you might as well, if you're putting all this effort and work in, you might as well just hold on to it. So what big goals do you guys have now? I mean, you've pretty much settled in. You got a successful real estate realtor following, I'm assuming. You have these rentals. Michael wants to buy bigger. Where is this going? Do you have any idea? Are you just going to keep going as far as you can go, or? His
goal is still 100 units. I don't think when he gets there he's going to be happy because in just 3 years we've bought 52, and we have everything that ranges from we have some that rent for like $425 a month all the way up to our most expensive is $1,700 a month. So we really have a wide range in our portfolio. But he really wants a large complex, like huge, large, like have to have a property manager on site.
Sure.
I'm not sure I'm at that level yet because that's pretty expensive, but we do have some private lenders we work with as well, and that's probably the route we would go if we did that.
Awesome. Through this process in a short amount of time, I'm just completely impressed with you. Is there anything that sticks out that you've learned through the process so far, like that you don't like, or advice that you can give someone that's starting out? Especially you're a lady and you're very ambitious. Any wisdom that you can give anywhere you died somewhere, you did something wrong, like rented to the wrong person?
Oh, yes.
Well, I know you text me quite often about this one eviction. You got that deal done.
Yes. Well, and to be honest, I had not even had to do an eviction for almost 2 years. We just got really lucky with every tenant.
Well, I wouldn't say luck. Due diligence.
Well, true. But in the last, just in January alone, I had to do 5 evictions. So, and I'm handling those myself too.
Stop that.
But I'm okay with that.
No, you need to stop that.
I have an assistant. I'm not ready to let the reins go.
I'm telling you, I use an attorney. It's extremely inexpensive. It's $150 for an eviction.
I had an attorney, and he did not do his job, and I had to follow up with him constantly.
Yeah.
And I was
Is it
not
the attorney
happy.
I referred to you? Don't say the name.
I'm not going to say the name because I sent him a pretty nasty email, and he responded, so I will just leave it at that.
Okay.
But
man, I wouldn't want to be on your bad side.
I'm telling you, I'm very sweet until I get crossed.
Black Widow.
But yes, I've had a few tenants. That's probably my negative with being a woman. And I say being a woman because sometimes your emotional side takes over. I'm a mom. And for instance, I can't say a whole lot because there's kind of a legal thing going with this one. But this guy contacts me and says, looking for a rental. Look, I'm going to be up front. I have a history. I was in prison. And I said, I appreciate it when people tell me things up front because then I know what I'm going to find. And I do believe everyone deserves a second chance. So he's telling me he has 2 small children. I, of course, do my Facebook stalking that I do on top of everything. And I see the pictures of the kids. And he says, I'm trying to get custody back. I need a place. They won't let me unless I have a place. And so I thought, I had a good feeling. This guy paid his rent every month in cash on time. He was super nice. Every time I met him, we would meet up. I'd give him his receipt. He'd go on his way. 1 month comes, he doesn't pay. And I'm like, this is not right. Something's wrong.
Sure.
So I look up his application. I call his emergency contact, get his mom, and she's like, "Oh, he's in jail." And I'm like, "Okay." She goes, "I'll call you back." So I look over to my assistant. I'm in the office, and I said, "Here's his name. Look him up. Figure out what you can find." Within 30 seconds, she's like, "Is this him? News article. He's tried to murder someone." So, luckily the people lived. But essentially, it turned into even bigger issues from there that I've since learned was going on. Luckily, he's not getting out, so they just cleared out his belongings. But that was a hard pill to swallow, that I had rented to this guy and didn't realize how bad of a guy he really was. And that I had been meeting him in person to pick up rent at places, sometimes at night in a parking lot.
To pay rent?
Uh-huh.
What's wrong with you?
Well, I work late, so if it's on the way home, it was usually like McDonald's or somewhere. There's always people.
You're about collecting the rent.
Hey, I will come to your door if I have to. Michael doesn't do that part. I do that part.
This Michael, we got to get this cat back on we got to get him on the radio. Anyway, so what happened next on that situation? Is he in the prison now or jail?
He's in jail. We're waiting. I had to work the DEA on some stuff. So,
so did you claim the property back?
I got the property back. Since then, we called our treble house. We got another set of tenants. They didn't pay last month. They're one of them that got evicted. Now I've got a new tenant in there. So we've bought this house less than a year ago, and we're already our third tenant. So this is kind of a new one for me. All
right. Another question, not controversial, but some people like property manager. Some people are like manage it themselves. You have 50-something units. Why don't you hire a property manager?
It's less money in my pocket.
So just the percentage-wise?
As long as I do the checks up front like I typically, I do, that cuts down on having the tenants that we shouldn't have in there. And as long as I'm doing that and everything's working out, then it just doesn't make sense. Majority of ours are long-term tenants we've already had. So if I were to take on a property manager, they would literally just start collecting a paycheck for doing nothing.
Okay. Now, about software, what do you use to run your management company?
I use Buildium to do the background checks. And so I pay for the full version, which is kind of dumb because I don't use it. But I only basically use it for them to fill out their application.
Really?
And then from there, run the background checks. And I do advertise from there, so I'll upload the photos and use that to push out to everywhere else.
How about the regular day-to-day operations like collecting money? And
I use QuickBooks.
Okay,
my tenants pay online. I try to coach them to pay online. It only costs me 50 cents a transaction. And that's way cheaper than me spending gas, driving to their house, or driving to the post office, driving to the bank. So majority of people do pay online.
Okay. So you have QuickBooks to run your financials.
Yes.
And kind of keep track of them.
Mm-hmm.
Do you put any data of them inside Buildium too, like their lease and like all that jazz? You keep that paper like in a file cabinet? All that just stays
in Google Drive, and I keep the paper copy in a file cabinet.
Okay. Awesome. How about phone system? How are you interacting with the tenants? Just regular your cell phone? You give it out?
They have my phone number. My phone number is everywhere being a realtor anyway, so.
Man. How do you sleep?
50-something units.
50. I remember when I was running 50 units, I was like, man, it was getting kind of nerve-wracking. Maintenance increased, right?
The houses you buy are a little different than the houses I buy.
True. That is true. Okay.
Our average rent is around $700 to $800 a month. So most of those houses, once we get them move-in ready, we rarely hear from the tenant.
All right, let's get back to the multifamily. What was that like? Was it like all of a sudden you're like stepping on this property and you're looking around 360 degrees? You're like, dang, how am I going to manage this? What was the learning curves that it wasn't easy to finance, right? You had to put some money down, 20%.
Actually, no. We did private lending and we did not put any money out of pocket.
So you've completely 100% financed that deal.
100%.
All right, we're going to talk.
Our interest rate is less than 4%.
Okay, awesome. We'll talk about that on Best Deal. So
I'm not giving out who my private lender is.
No, I don't expect that at all. But you should probably. I think that's a lot of your husband is similar to me. I got to get to 100 units. When I get to 100 units, it's like okay, I'm gonna But I think my new thing is private lending. I think when I like you said, I have gray hair now. Thanks. Earlier, I think it was like, how are you? Oh, it looks like you got gray.
Yeah, a lot more gray from last time.
I'm about to go get a haircut. Back up. So
the goatee has it too.
Yeah, I know. I'm not going to diet. So let's just focus on private money. I think my end game. I think that at the end of the day, I think I'm going to just start loaning people money. Pooling money and loaning it out. I think you would be really good at that as well, since you already orchestrated this deal with no money down on a private money deal, and their people are super happy probably. But we'll get into that later. So let's not talk about that. All right. Any books that have inspired you?
I read your first few books, and then I helped you edit that one, and you didn't like that because I put all kinds of red mark all over it.
It's okay. I still like you. You're here on the radio. So.
Yeah. Other than that, I don't have a whole lot of time to read.
Have you ever thought about coaching yourself and helping people in some form or fashion? Like, are you going to be a brokerage?
No, probably not. Michael thinks that would be a good thing for me, but I know what all comes along with that and the more responsibility I'd have. I have started a team, so I do have a personal assistant. She helps me on both businesses, and then I do have a buyer's agent. So in the event, I want to get to where I'm only on my realtor business, only working with sellers mostly, unless it's a referral for a buyer, and then everyone else she's going to help. Right. And I'm probably going to expand that to one other person.
So if I was looking for a realtor and you asked me, who do I use? And I was, I'm the cheap ghetto guy, what kind of services do you provide? Like, do you provide unique services for an investor like myself? And like, how could you help me or any investor of sorts? I mean, obviously your knowledge, you've done a few transactions for yourself, which is what I love, but like what services does the Dillard Group provide? And tell us more about that.
So for the most part, it's just, I hate to say it, but it's basic. It's going to be working with buyers, setting up searches, showing you what's in the MLS. I've done HUD properties, I've done REO properties, so I do have experience with both of those. Dillard Group does have an NAID number, so we're able to make those offers on those HUD properties through the government. Other than that, a lot of times it's just going to be the networking. So like if I get a call from a seller and they're like, well, I don't like the numbers to list it, and I don't like your cash offer, but keep my house in mind. Maybe my numbers are different from someone else's numbers. Some people, what they're looking at to make the numbers work for them maybe aren't what I'm looking for. Or maybe it didn't work for me because it doesn't have the 3 bedrooms in the garage, or it's not in the right area. And so, at that point, I know I've texted you a few times saying, hey, I got these houses coming on the market.
Sure.
Do you know anybody?
Yeah, the subject too. You try to get me over by the college. I was excited about that, but it just was too skinny. Yeah. No, but so what you're saying is that you kind of you want to have relationships with people instead of just handing them. I got deals, and you kind of farm them out. If they can't materialize, of course you'll list any property, and I think you'd be very successful at that because you're obviously aggressive, and I like that about you. Man, I don't know what else to say, but damn.
Well, thanks.
You're killing it. All right, guys. I don't know what to say, but listen, you need to get a hold of this gal. And there was one more question that I had to ask. What area do you like the most? I mean, you live on the south side more? I know you moved.
We live in the south side, yeah.
Okay. More was where you used to live, and then you moved. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, do you farm in that area? Is that where you're... And Dillard Group, is that in Norman, right?
Dillard Group's in Norman, yes.
So is that your stomping grounds down more Norman?
I mostly sell in more Norman. As far as investments for us, we stay south of 240, and we don't go into Del City. So that's kind of our line over on that area. And then we actually don't own anything in Norman. We bought one house in Norman, and it didn't work out for us for rental, so we flipped it and sold it, made some quick money, and That's it.
Awesome. So that's good. I'm north. Okay, east, northeast, northwest, Midwest City. So any kind of those deals. And I'll look at a Del City deal, but I'm not a fan of Del City either. How can people get a hold of you? Email, phone number. And this phone number you're about to give out, is this just your cell phone that your tenants have too?
It's the cell phone number everybody has. You can Google me and find it.
You're gonna get overwhelmed. Well, anyway, listen, if you're serious about getting into real estate, this gal from nothing to superstardom, this is the person you need to communicate with. What is your phone number, Heather?
It is 405-222-9017.
All right. Do you have a website?
I don't really keep up with it much.
Just Dillard Group?
My email is heather@dillardgroup.com.
All right. Heather Schleeper. You're not a sleeper. That's for dang sure.
Well, but it's spelled Schleeper. So if you look me up.
All right. I just know it's Sleeper. I really, truly appreciate your time. I think it's been about 6 months to a year I've been trying to get you on the show.
I know, and I felt bad because I kept asking you questions about these evictions since it's new. And I thought, well, if I'm
going to charge this chick.
I know, so I'm like, I better go on the show.
Because she would charge me.
I would not.
I'm just playing. Anyway, it's been a wonderful time. I'm just so excited that you have changed your future. You've built a legacy for your family. Michael is empowered, which men need to be empowered. And I love that you guys are working together. He knows his position. You know your position. It's just a great story. And some people may think that, that I put you on today just to sell coaching. I don't sell coaching. So I think you have an amazing story that from nothing, you can do anything only if you're driven. And I think that that's what this message should be today, is that folks out there that you can't do it, deals didn't fall through. Just listen to this again and see that she can do it. Anyone can do it. And I'm just truly honored to be a part of your life. And thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.
And we'll have you back on and listen in a couple of weeks. You'll hear her best deal about this apartment building, so you want to tune into that. Heather, have a great day, and whatever you do, what do? Buy assets.
Investor Weekend is not far off, with over 10 information sessions to increase your portfolio. Log on to www.investorweekend.com. Whether you are a seasoned investor or never purchased a property before, you don't want to miss the Investor Weekend. Join us for a powerful, knowledge-packed weekend with over 10 informational sessions that are bound to enlarge your real estate investments. You will hear from the best national and local real estate investors that will share practical and relevant experiences with you, the investor. There will be several networking sessions to connect with other like-minded people for potential funding, partnerships, and yes, hot deals. Go to www.investorweekend.com. Did you know we meet once a month for the Landlord Lunch Meeting? The third Wednesday of every month. Go to landlordlunch.com.
Thanks for listening to the Savvy Radio Show. Glide online and listen to our other motivating episodes at savvyradioshow.com. Connect on Twitter at LandlordBook and always be buying assets.